The Kenya flag is divided horizontally into three regions. The first is black, which is at the top of the flag. White strip separates the black and the red, which is in the middle. The red is followed by another white strip which separates it from green, which is at the bottom region of the flag. The black at the top represents religion or magic. There are various religious formations in Kenya including Protestants, Catholics, Hindus and Ismailis. They worship two beings who are claimed to have been rulers of the underworld. The first one is Conrad, whom the Irish call William and appears in the religious texts as the Galilean, Jesus of Nazareth. The Galileans in the scriptures oftenly refer to foreign settlers like the Irish and Scots in England. They arrived there as mercenaries, but later tried to establish their own governments in England. The rebels were defeated and ejected from England. They moved with Conrad's body to Kolkata in Bengal, India. They kept it in the Black Hole of Kolkata and built the Fort William around the Black Hole. This is where various forms of Conrad's religion was birthed. Certain factions of the Mughalistanis such as the Punjabis, Balochis and Gujaratis moved to Khorasan where they embraced Ismailism. The Ismailis referred to Conrad as Ismail, and claimed that he was a son of Abraham, and that he had been chased away, but now his descendants were returning home. Abraham in this context refers to King Charles of the French. When Conrad joined the French relief expedition to the remnant of the Tudor family in England, he was the commander of the Danish fighters in the Loyalist English army. Owing to the fact that his mother was a Dane and that he grew up as a Dane, he was placed in charge of the Danish fighters. Together with his Danish army, Conrad mutinied and turned against Jasper, and killed all the remnant of the Tudor family in England. After this, Conrad did not return to France, and he settled in Germany instead. Jasper took over the command of his brother, Owen's army of rebels. Jasper's faction became a branch of the Tudor family known as the House of Burgundy. The supporters of the House of Burgundy turned to Arthur Tudor, but he left behind no issues, hence only the descendants of Edmund Tudor are the surviving members of the House of Tudor. The House of Burgundy is sometimes called Senior House of Welf, while the descendants of the Prester John are called the Italian House of Welf or the House of Este. In England, all the branches of the House of Tudor are jointly called the Yorks. The Italian House of Este, Spanish House of Trastamara and the French House of Valois are names of the family of the Prester John. Their opponents, the Indian followers of Conrad, also known as the Hindus, referred to Conrad as Krishna son of Vasudeva. The European supporters of Conrad were on the other hand, a sect of the movement of the Jews. The Greek Orthodox and the Copts emerged as subdivisions of the said sect and they called him Ares, the god of war. These worshippers of Ares became the Arians. Some sources refer to the Arians as Danishmendeds while others refer to them as the Byzantines. Their colleagues from Moghulistan became the Turks. Though it began as a political movement supporting the Stuart and his conspiracy against the Caesar, at some point, Aryan, or Jew, was transformed into racial designation, sometimes alternatively referred to as the Indo-Europeans. The Nazi Adolf Hitler and his associates such as the Italian Benito Mussolini identified as Aryans. Both the Jews from Europe, and their Moghulistani allies converged in Africa where they tried to establish a theocracy similar to the biblical Kingdom of Israel. In religious context, Conrad's followers became the Protestants. Besides the Protestants, there were Jesuit Catholics who entertained certain Protestant elements. They were a branch of the Aragonese or Portuguese Franciscan Catholics. While the Catholics stayed true to the Stuart, whom Latin sources refer to as Jupiter or Jove, the solar deity, a branch of the Catholics known as the Jesuits, also embraced Conrad and so they referred to themselves as the Society of Jesus. According to them, Conrad and the Stuart ruled the underworld as allies. In the Moghulistani sources, the Stuart is called Rabana, and the underworld where he ruled is Lanka. They claimed that East Africa was the southern forests, a darker region of Lanka, known as Ashok Vatika. During the investiture controversy between the Caesar and the Stuart, followed by Conrad's rebellion against the Stuart, the latter brought Moghulistani fighters to the west. The Stuart then appointed a magus from amongst the Moghulistanis and made him pope, his viceroy and representative. The Moghulistanis in Europe are known as the Granadines. Elsewhere, they are referred to as the Turkish branches of the Jews and they once dominated Iberia. The green in flags of nations with predominant Catholic populations represents the Maghulistanes. They are represented by the green in the Italian and Portuguese flags. According to Italian historical sources, their territory was called the Caliphate of Granada. A section of the Grenadines who joined Conrad's faction became the Kedarites. The name Kedar, the biblical version of the name Kedar, which is Arabic name for the steward. In Kenya, the Maghulistani Catholics were the Jesuits from Goa, operating under the Mill Hill Fathers mission. Their European or British colleagues were the Irish Catholics who operated under the White Fathers mission. The Jesuits took the sun as their symbol, while the Protestants took the mountain. The Jesuits, Turks and all Maghulistanes are represented by the green in the Kenyan flag. The two strips separating the red par of the Kenyan flag from black at the top and green at the bottom, represent the Midland. The red region and the white strips are the colors of victory. The Midland refers to Europe, much of which is rest high above all the regions of the earth. The red in the Kenyan flag also represent the red subjects of the Prester John. In some cases, they were called Marmaricans or Abyssinians. The Red Sea was named after them because they lived in underground caves along the shores of that sea. Those who lived in the coast of the Red Sea became Wangwana or Waswahili. Currently, the Bajuni and Hadhrami claim the Swahili designation.